Alright guys, I've been wanting to learn more about music theory and guitar and get better. I thought a great way to continue to get better would be to begin to teach some of the stuff that I've learned from my years of playing, and that will show me where my weaknesses are, where I don't clearly understand things, and then I'll have things to work on. So I thought for the first thing today, I would just start with a simple scale. So pentatonic scale is a scale with 5 notes, and that's why it's called penta, 5. And the first pentatonic scale that I learned is called the first position pentatonic. And so I learned it first in A minor. And so the pentatonic, the first position scale, is just basically a sequence of finger positioning. So I'll just go ahead and play the first pentatonic scale, which is a minor pentatonic, and I'll say first, let me just play it. Maybe a little bit out of tune. All right, seems good enough. So that was it. And so you can play it all the way down, then you can play it back or all the way up, and then back down. So that is, you're going to use your pointer finger, your first, second, third, and fourth fingers. You're going to be in the position where your pointer finger, your first finger, is going to be on the A of the E string, so the big fat low string, the 6th string, that's the E string. And if you count up, you start on E, and then you go F sharp, G, G sharp. Now you're up to A, so the 5th fret on the E string, that's an A. And so you're going to start here, 5, and then you're going to put down your pinky, your 4th finger, on the same string, the E string. So if you just lined up each of your fingers like this, one over each fret, then that's the position you're going to be able to play this scale in and not have to move positionings at all. So you're going to want to have your fingers like this. Your pointer is over the 5th frets, then your middle is over the 6th, your rings over the 7th, and your pinkies over the 8th, and you're going to want to hold that position the whole time. So you go from A or 5. I'll start with so this is the A, we've established this, and it's a minor shape, and that's why this is the A minor pentatonics, or pentatonic, okay? So we play 5 on the low E, 8 on the low E, 5 on the A, 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 7 on the D, 5 on the G, 7 on the G, 5 on the B, 8 on the B, 5 on the high E, 8 on the high E. So 8 high E, 5 high E, 8 B, 5 B, 7 G, 5 G, 7 D, 5 D, 7 A, 5 A, 8 low E, 5 low E. And so that's the pentatonic. Okay? Now that you know the fingerings, you know it's a pentatonic. There's 5 notes. Let's actually learn the notes. So we know that it's A, right? That's A. Then it's going to be C. That's D, E, G, and then back to A. Right? So you see that there's a pattern on the guitar, at least for these 2 strings, the 6th and the 4. These are an octave. So this is A, and this is 7 on the D. Pattern holds on the 5th and the 5th and the 3rd string. That is the A and the G strings. They're octaves as well, but in this case they're Ds. Okay. So here we go. Again, the 5 notes in the A minor pentatonic are A, C, D, E, and G. A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G. And it repeats. A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G. See, it's a pattern. Just there's 5 notes. Then back to A, and we end it on C. Okay. A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, A, G, E, D, C, A, G, E, D, C, A. Right? And I'm memorizing right now each of the notes. So I like to just pick a random note right here. That's A. How about right here? That's D. There's a lot of simple patterns with this first A minor pentatonic that you can help you memorize the notes. First of all, the pattern is A, C, D, E, G. A, C, D, E, G, A, C, right? So you know the pattern. What is it backwards? C, A, G, E, D, C, A, D, E, or E, D. Let me restart that. C, A, G, E, D, C, A, G, E, D, C, A. So those are the notes, but what are some other ways we can know what note is which? Well, we know that this is going to be the A every time. That's simple, because we know this is the A minor pentatonic. So the 5th on the E is A, the note 8, or A. And then we know since this is A, well then on the high E string, that's also A. So the 1st and the 6th strings are the same notes. Then we know that they're both C then. These are both C because this is C. Then you know then this is AC. Another simple way to know other notes in this position is, well, if you know the open 6 strings, so you know that this is E, A, D, G, B, E. If you know that you've memorized those 6, what the 6 open strings are, well then check this out. You go E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, right? We're back to A, where we started. Well, this string is also A. So for the first 3 strings, yeah. So for these first 3 strings, you're going to know that on the 5th fret of the string above it, so the bigger string, above it, maybe it's below it, but so the 5th string, or the 5th fret on the 6th string is the same note as the open note of the 5th string. That pattern follows here on the A string. The 5th fret of the A string is the same note as the open note of the B string. See, they're both Ds. Next one, same thing. 5th fret of the D string is the same note as the open note of the G strings, both Gs. Now the pattern kind of changes here. You go down one for the next one. So the 4th fret of the G string is the B, same as the open B. And then it goes back to 5. Both are E's. Cool, so if you know this string, or say this is gonna be A, okay, cool, it's just like these first 3 5th frets are just gonna be same as A, D, G, A, D, G, A, D, G, A, D, G, A, D, 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 G, 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 G. Okay, what else? So you're gonna see that you're gonna use 2 notes on each string, and your pointer is always going to stay. You're always going to use your pointer as one of them. So the only thing that's changing on each string is whether you're using your pointer or your pinky or your ring finger. Okay, so also now another pattern here is on the 7th strings of these top 3 strings. Even actually this one too. Yeah, top 3. So E here, 7th on the A is the E as well. Move down 1, A, open A. 7th of the D is also A. 7th of the G is also D, just like this string. Below it. So, and that can help you figure out the notes really quick. So, right here, if I'm on the 7th of the G string, well then I know that's D. If I'm on the 7th of the D string, then I know it's A. And if I'm on the 7th of the A string, then I know it's E. Cool. Now we know the basics. Let's talk about one more layer. So we know that it's 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. Cool? Well, those are finger positionings. Well, we also know it's A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, A, G, E, D, C, A, G, E, D, C, A. Those are the notes. Now we can even talk about intervals. So the A minor pentatonic comes from the A minor scale. So if you look at this shape, right, we've shown the shape. Well, the A minor scale actually fits on top of that, or below it, however you look at it. So they share the same notes, except for the A minor now has 2 extra notes. So here's the A minor pentatonic. Here's the A minor scale. And we can talk about which notes are added by either saying the fingering, the notes, or the intervals. So what's an interval? Well, this is somewhere I'm still learning. I'm rusty on a little bit, but an interval is basically like, I don't know how to even explain that. There's going to be 7 notes in a key, I believe. So for A minor, you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. So an octave 8, but 7 different notes. That's A minor. So now, instead of A minor pentatonic, just having those 5 notes, we have 7 notes. And so That's A, B, C, D, E, F, G versus A, C, D, E, G. A. So we have this extra B, and we have this extra, yeah. We have an extra B. So we have the pentatonic plus B, and the pentatonic plus F. Okay, so within the A minor scale, we can talk about intervals, and we'll just say each note here is the interval. So because of my lack of understanding of being able to explain it, I'll just keep it that simple for now. The root, or the beginning, the A, is the first interval. Maybe I'm using the wrong terminology, but we will say A is 1, we'll say B is 2, then we'll say 3 for C, 4 for D, 5 for E, 6 for G, or sorry, F, 7 for G, and then 1 for A again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, so using that same numbering system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, from the A minor A minor scale, we can take that same interval structure and use it for the A minor pentatonic. So we got 1, right, as the root, 1, but we don't have the 2 this time. We don't have that B. We have 1 and then 3, 4, 5, no 6, 7, 1. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. We're missing the 2 and the 4. 2 and the 4, no, 2 and the 6, I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. Okay? And that's really important for things like soloing and improvisation, to know the intervals, and that's why I'm just beginning to start learning about them now. Because when you're talking about chords, the chord is typically made from the root, the 1, the 5, and then the 3. So how do we say root? The 1, the 5, and the 3. So A, C, no, minor 3. Minor 3, yeah. See, now this is where my knowledge starts to reach the limits. It's really important for soloing, I'll tell you that. And there's like the intervals and the notes and the chords, and then when the chords change, you want to change the intervals. You're like maybe enunciating. Switches to A, back to E, or back to A, D, E. So playing the 5s is typically important with the root. All right, that's going to call it good for the A minor pentatonic. You've learned now actually how to play it. You've seen the A minor pentatonic, or A minor scale, and how it overlays with the pentatonic scale. That's how you get the intervals. We've talked about the notes in the pentatonic scale of the A minor. I guess we could talk about one more thing, and that is that the scale is movable. So here's the shape. What happens if we just move that shape up? Well, now instead of A minor pentatonic, we've got A sharp minor pentatonic. What about B minor? What about B minor pentatonic? C minor pentatonic. C sharp minor pentatonic. D minor pentatonic. See, it's the same shape everywhere. Just depends on what your lowest note is that you start on. So this is the G minor pentatonic. All right, that's gonna wrap it up. That's the basics of the A minor pentatonic. If you wanna learn how to play it like that instead of this all down strokes where you're putting, you can learn alternate picking, which is a technique in which you go up, down, up, down, up, down. So down, up, down, up. But if you actually want to do faster alternate picking for the pentatonics, you start with an upstroke. So then it's naturally like up, and then you're going down, and you're moving down to the next string. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for today. I had no intention to make this 22 minutes long. I thought it was gonna be like 30 seconds. So take what you will. Maybe I'll be back with more guitar lessons. Maybe not. We'll see. And talk to you guys later. See ya.